Welcome to episode 7 of the Jordan Benavides Show. This is going to be the third installment in our Making FUGU series. I'm joined by.
Obi Nelson.
Sean Kelly.
Well, thanks for having me to come interview you guys. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and your job.
So I'm the supervising sound editor and re-recording mixer on FUGU. I've done filmmaking for a while. Audio post-production is like pretty much like my niche or my department.
I'm the location sound mixer or location sound supervisor, either one. I mostly just do like audio on set and nothing to do with post. I try to avoid that when I can, mostly because I have Obi to rely on and he's really good at it. So if I specialize in the other thing and he specializes in post, work pretty well together.
Why is sound important?
You want to go? Or?
It's important. You need the performances on set. They need to be captured. If the sound's bad, no one's gonna want to watch it. And also, like, you need like sound effects to like help sell the reality of what you're watching and to make it sound exciting and all that.
Yeah.
I think it also just like is part of what helps bring a movie to life. Similar to how like if you're framing something in a camera and it's just a subject and there's no set deck, nothing like dirtying the frame, it's just a subject sitting in like the middle of the frame. That's what it would be like if you had a movie like with no sound and there's just like no atmosphere, no real like, there's no realism to the world without sound.
So, you do the sound work in the moment, in the shot, right? How do you influence what happens at the end of the film? And when everything's said and done and it's out and released, how do you influence that?
So the goal for me on set is I want the cleanest, most consistent sound possible. So I guess the way that I would influence like the final film is just the quality that Obi gets to work with and gets to fill out. I kind of provide the baseline for that.
And you get to deal with it all at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm
What
like
do
the
you-
last audio link in the chain.
So what is it that you do that, really changes whatever it is that he worked with to make it what it is at the end when you're all done with everything?
So one of the hats I wear is I'm a dialogue editor. I basically remove the audio evidence of filmmaking. So when a scene is being shot, every time the camera changes, the mic positions also change. So when you go through one shot and to another, you're gonna hear like the cuts. So I audibly smooth them out. I also do quite a bit of dialogue cleanup, removing like any unwanted noises like clicks, ticks, pops. I'm also a re-recording mixer, so after the dialogue edit's done, I take that, make it sound a little cleaner, adjust the levels a bit, and also make sure it's intelligible as it can be when mixed against music and sound effects.
That's a good thing. Sound effects. What is that like for you? How do you go into creating sound for the film?
Okay, the sound effects side. Admittedly, I'm not as strong as that compared to the dialogue side, but if there's like sound effects that need to be made, what I do is I often layer like different sounds to create a sound, especially like if the sound that needs to be made is like really otherworldly. There's also like an element of sound effects called Foley, which is like recording and performing sounds in sync to picture. Luckily, I do have a Foley team because that's like my Achilles heel. But yeah, the sound effects editing part, it's just layering a bunch of sounds, whether it's from a sound effects library or actually like getting out and recording my own sounds and trying to create some cool sounds.
For you, what is it like getting to capture all of the audio in the moment and really give him that to work with? What do you do for that?
It can get kind of stressful, especially with just wanting like everything to be super clean and then hearing like every little detail is like, it gets stressful when it's like, this little thing's gonna like, Obi's gonna hate me for this. And like, you can hear this, and like, you can hear this person like across the room, like move their feet a little bit, and then it's like it gets stressful when it's just dealing with all the like little details, and then once it actually gets to Obi, or if Obi's on set, he's like, no, it's actually not bad. Like, it's definitely workable, and like this is far from the worst I've had. And I'm like, thank God Obi like can fix this.
What gear do you use to really, capture what's going on? I feel like that's more of a you question because that's something that's out in the moment. Like in the moment, you're there. What do you use and why do you use it?
So really, I like to stick to just having a bag. A lot of people go for a cart, but I feel like that's a little overkill. So I'll have a bag with the recorder, and then mostly wireless transmitters is what we use now. I say that like I was around before wireless, but so what we use is an 833, which is the recorder, and then the boom mics that I use swap depending on the situation. Usually if we're inside, we're using MKH50s. If we're outside, I like to use the Sanken CS3 just because they have different pickup patterns, which means like what the mic is going to capture. If you like drew the area around the mic on like what it's going to pick up is going to be different for each mic. So generally, if you're inside, it's more controlled. So you can use something like the MKH50 that has a wider pickup pattern, but it sounds better. So like it's a little more sensitive, and like it's going to pick up more things if you're not in a controlled environment. It's going to pick up a lot more wind, a lot more like cars passing by, stuff like that. But if you're inside, you can control it to a degree that like it's worth it to use the better sounding mic if it's just going to be like you might pick up a couple more like footsteps or whatever. And then on the opposite end, outside, the Sanken has such a narrow pickup pattern that it's like kind of crazy. It rejects things that aren't in its pickup pattern super well, which means like if there's something behind the mic and not in front of the mic directly in its pickup pattern, you'll still hear it, but it's like clearly not picking that up from behind it. Yeah. It's just like whatever kind of remnants of the sound actually make it to the front of the mic. And then our wireless is all electrosonics. So we have transmitters and receivers. The receivers are all hooked up to the bag and then plugged into the 833. And then transmitters are what you give to the actor and like put the microphone on and then run the mic up their shirt and tape it all on them. Which for me is usually the biggest challenge because everyone wears different clothes for like each scene, and it's like every time they have a different wardrobe, it's okay, what do I do now that they're like last time they're in a t-shirt, this time they're in a t-shirt with a hoodie and then a parka, and then it's like the parka is rustling against itself, like all these layers rustle against them. Like where can I put this mic the best that it's hidden, gets the best sound, and like avoids all that rustling with different wardrobe. And it's going to change not just with wardrobe, but depending on the day, depending on like what their blocking is, how the actor's moving, and really it feels like just a different thing every time that you have to troubleshoot. So another big part is just like interacting with the actors and like making them comfortable both with like putting a mic on their skin and then also like coming back to them and being like, hey, can I do that again?
Now, whatever problems you feel, I'm sure you also end up at the end of the day having to deal with. What are some of the biggest challenges that you have when it comes to handling that? Like those, I mean, from what I saw, there was a big fight scene, right? I imagine that that's really hard to capture in terms of audio, at least get it like clean. How do you go about, managing those issues that you run into?
So I guess I can start and then you can say like how you cleaned it up. So for the fight scenes, from the very start in pre-production, I knew that like we're gonna have to use two booms on this because I only have one main boom operator. And since they're gonna be fighting and moving around so much, like you can put mics on them, you're not gonna get good audio from it though. So like really knew from the start that we're gonna need multiple booms, find another boom operator, and then just do our best from there and like capture the best we can on the boom mics, and then which presents new challenges. You add a new person, a new boom mic, like in such a small space that we were in. It's like the challenge doesn't then becomes like, instead of figuring out the rustle, like where am I gonna put this whole person with a long stick and like avoid knocking the camera over and like avoid being in frame, casting shadow, all that.
The fight scenes. Okay, I started working on FUGU weeks ago. Dialogue wise, the fight scenes they weren't that bad. Booms, they usually sound, dialogue cleanup wise, they're usually easier than lavs. There were some lavs recorded on the fight scene, but not like the actual fight, but just straight dialogue. Yeah, it was well recorded. I would even say throughout the entire production, dialogue cleanup wise, from a dialogue perspective, this is one of the easier projects I've taken on, which is great. I mean, yeah, there's issues with the production sound. I mean, what isn't? Production sound is like rarely pristine, but with the noise reduction tools have gotten so good that like production sound is more salvageable than it has ever been before, and yeah, it was kind of easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked him about the tools that he used, but I also, forget that you do things too. You say that tools like when it comes to noise reduction and things like that have gotten a lot better. What do you use throughout your role?
So for sound editorial and also for mixing, I just use a laptop, a DAW, and a microphone if I need to get out and record sounds. The DAW I use is Pro Tools. It's like the industry standard for audio post-production for film and television. I use plugins. I could list every single plugin I use, but man, that would be boring. As far as like noise reduction tools for dialogue, the EQ I use is the FabFilter one. Some of my favorite noise reduction plugins would be Voxium, DX Revive Pro. The one I use a lot for dialogue cleanup is Isotope RX, which is kind of like Photoshop, but for audio. You can just zap out noises and copy and paste stuff. And yeah, those are some of the tools I use.
What are y'all's favorite parts of working audio?
I'm a dialogue guy, so I would say being a re-recording mixer, it's kind of cool, like being the last audio person in chain, taking all the dialogue, music, and sound effects, and figuring out how to make each scene sound as impactful as it can be, and working with directors and picture editors on that. There's a whole lot of sound. If you play them in Unity, it's gonna sound like mush. So it's like a fun challenge to like blend and balance all those things.
I think for me, a lot of audio is just creative problem solving, like troubleshooting the lavs and figuring out where to place a mic. It just takes a lot of like figuring out, I guess, problem solving. But then other than that, I feel like being on set for me is just the best part of doing audio. I just like being on set and being around so many different people that like outside of set I wouldn't have met. And being on audio, you kind of get to like interact with everyone. You get to like, you have your own team. Like I had my boom op Allison. I had my assistant Sound Soup, kind of happened to fill that role, was Cassie. Arlie was our boom op for a couple days. So I had my own team that I really liked working with and got along with. And then outside of that, like I get to talk to Nathan, the director. I get to talk to the scripty. I get to talk to camera every once in a while when I like come by and put on time code onto their camera. So it's just kind of like, I really enjoy the work, But the thing that's like most rewarding for me is just how many people I get to meet and interact with when I'm on set.
Do you have a favorite moment from the filming process so far?
I have a few, I feel like.
Yeah.
There was a day that we were filming outside with a car, and we were on a wide shot. So part of the creative problem solving is in a wide shot, where do you put the boom mic?
Nowhere.
Well, what we ended up doing was putting Allison behind the car, just crouched down, and she would just like do the best she could to get the boom not in shot, but like just record them like basically hiding.
Oh.
And then there was another day. This was over multiple days, actually. There's one day that I ran into a lot of wireless issues, which just means like I get interference through the wireless, and you just start picking up a lot of like, yeah.
Sounds like that.
And then to the point, like I was really upset coming off of set that day because there's just not a whole lot I could do about it. I tried like scanning different frequencies, resyncing everything, and nothing I did really got rid of it. So the next day, I went back to the equipment room where we check out all our gear with my setup, and I just like started trying to figure out like what can I do to actually fix this. So I like took pieces and parts from all over the equipment room and like put them onto the bag, and then showed up onto set the next day with just like a bag full of wires and antennas attached to it with like clamps that I took from somewhere else, and like screwed them onto the bag, and it was just like an abomination. And it was, I think, I don't know, it was really silly just like showing up to set the next day with like what looks like just a completely new setup, and it's like, yeah, I just like was fed up.
What about you? I know you weren't really part of the filming, at least what he was doing, but do you have a favorite moment so far from the things that you've done?
I'm still in the weeds a bit. My favorite part about working on it was probably the fight scene. Sound effects wise, it's like the most challenging scene I've ever worked on. It's been like very much like a trial and error type of thing, trying to find the right sounds, recording stuff, layering stuff, things don't work, tossing other sounds, adding stuff, but I think I'll get there. Hopefully, yeah.
You were on set too.
Oh yeah, I was on set.
There you go,
Yeah, I was on set for a few days for no reason, just to.
Tell them about the shaboing boing mic.
Oh yeah, there was like I was a boom operator for like what, a day or two. There was like this really long boom mic, which I named the shaboing boing mic. Had a very narrow pickup pattern. Yeah, that was a fun scene to boom.
It's on like a boom pole that's too short for it too. So if it's fully collapsed and you like put the boom mic down into like the resting position, it's longer than the pole.
What was that mic called?
It's the Sennheiser 8070.
Oh.
Do you have a favorite scene? You talked a little bit about the having, to hide behind the car and everything like that. Do you have any other favorite scenes that you worked on?
There's one that got cut, and I think it might partially be my fault, as well as a couple other crew members, for continually repeating when Vincent first sees Dorian's car. I think in the final cut he just says something like, "That's your car? Like, that's a nice car," or whatever. But then the original scene that got cut, he goes like, "Damn, that's your car." And I really wish we kept that in. But I think just repeating it over and over, Nathan ended up kind of hating it. And so we reshot that, and I'm kind of sad about it.
What does your role mean to you, each of you?
You can go first, I have to think.
Oh, I was thinking as well. What does my role? I mean, that's funny. In audio post, I wear so many hats, but I kind of have to. I'm like a supervising sound editor, dialogue editor, sound effects editor, sound designer, da 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 da. I basically help tell the story the filmmakers want to tell through sound. I'm a storyteller. I mean, yes, the audio side of filmmaking can be quite technical. It is also creative. I help tell the story through sound, and yeah, it's a bit satisfying being like one of the last people to work on a film and help bring somebody's vision to life. And it's kind of cool. Like what I do is like a transparent craft. If I do my job well, no one really notices. But you can hear the work. You don't hear the work, but you hear the work. Yeah. I like telling stories through sound.
What about you?
I think for me, it's similar to what a lot of other on-set roles end up saying, which is like I really get to bring the director's vision to life. And working for Nathan specifically, like he wrote and directed FUGU, and it obviously means a lot to him just from the bit that I've talked to him about it. He's like really passionate about the script, had a lot, big vision for it, a lot he wanted to do, and like to be able to be a part of that and to be trusted with bringing that to life and like what I would consider a really important role, and that like capturing sound is like half, if not more, of the movie. I think my role on FUGU just really like felt validating in that like this is something that I am good at, and this is something that I could really like go into moving forward. And the fact that somebody who had a project that they cared so much about trust me with it is just something that's really meaningful and validating to me in continuing to just do audio on set.
What does the film itself mean to you? Whether it be like a literal sense or just from the work that you've done, like you just explained. What does the film FUGU mean to you?
I feel like I'm saying the same answer, but it really, to me, is just like, to me, represents all the people that I've met and all the friends that I made that I wouldn't have otherwise. So it's meaningful to me in that like I feel like it helped me grow a lot as a person, just both in like my career and what I want to do with audio, as well as just like becoming more comfortable just in a setting like a set where it's really a lot of strangers at first and then you like bond over time. So it means a lot to me to just like have that experience and be a part. Yeah.
What does FUGU mean to me? It's to me, it's like a project to like another opportunity to put like another number on the board, another opportunity to like try and do my best work. I read the script. I really liked it. That was one reason why I joined. Another reason why I joined was this production was to like try to get better at the sound effects side of audio post and become a better supervisor, get more post sound experience. So I know how to like better oversee that entire process. And yeah, it's been pretty nice working with Nathan. He's a pretty collaborative director. Like, you can just throw ideas at him. He'll be like, yeah. He'll consider each and every one. One of the easiest directors I've worked with thus far.
Yeah.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Well, lastly, what is next for both of you? How does this help your career, and where do you want to go from this point?
I mean, next for me is hopefully just continuing to do more work like this.
Yeah.
I would really like to work with anyone to continue doing location sound supervising. And just from the amount of people that I met on the FUGU set, like I'd really like to work with any of them again. I feel like this helped me a lot in just like being confident in my abilities to do this as a career. I think it helped a lot with making connections and friends and just meeting people who are both like valuable friends, but also like bring me back on jobs.
What is next for me?
You got more sound effects to make.
Yeah. Man, I've been. What is next for me? I gotta decide like whether I should be a jack of all audio post trades or like train to like be more of a specialist and just do like one thing. What else? It's a lot of what Sean said. Friends you make along the way. I met some like pretty cool filmmakers, and I've also got to continue working with some of the cool filmmakers like Jackson Swindle, our picture editor, and yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys for having me to interview you, and I really appreciate it. All your answers were great, and it was great to hear about what it is that you did and where you're going.
Thank you.
Thanks.